Hi, this is Harold Carter.
This is Jonathan Liu,
We are the
CaLew.
Perspective. Thank you for joining us today. We are just a few days away from Halloween, which is October 31st.
Yeah.
And I think it's a great opportunity to talk about some of the things that we're going to be discussing here on this podcast today. I'm going to be looking at paranormal perspective and paranormal events.
Mm.
What do you think about that, John?
So, so let's maybe define paranormal first. So,
Yes.
paranormal, and have this written down because I can't remember it. It says it's events of purported phenomenon, pop culture, folk, or other non-scientific bodies of knowledge whose existence within the context described as being beyond the scope of normal scientific understanding. So
Wow.
basically, science cannot explain something that happened.
That's a mouthful.
Yeah, I can't memorize that too much.
Well, so if you think about that, do you believe? Where are you on that? What's your perspective on that?
So it's not that I don't believe in, I think, paranormal. I think, though, that if you cannot explain it with science, I do question
Okay.
it, right? Not saying it didn't happen, but I think my brain logically just says, no, that's not happening, right? And that's just the way I'm wired.
Okay. Well, I mean, that's fair enough. I mean, that's sort of why we're here today, and we're going to be talking about some things here. I know around the world, I mean, we've been talking about ghosts for forever and beyond. And so there are places that are locations where ghosts have been sort of documented or designated as places where paranormal activity take place. And so I have to ask myself, is it real or is it not?
Yeah.
It'd be kind of interesting to hear what some of you guys are thinking about that as well. We'd love to hear your perspective on this. But I want to go back to John and ask John, so because he doesn't necessarily believe necessarily one way or the other, I want to have him sort of give a little bit more why he maybe stands in that position, his perspective on that.
Yeah, so just my background, right? I don't think the traditional superstitions and traditional, cultural things that were passed down to me, right? The difference was, and again, this could be a whole other subject, but religion, right?
Okay.
In the Chinese culture, there's many, many, you know, superstitions, paranormal events, things of that nature that are reported or passed down. And I think that for me, as a child, I was not brought up that way. My family, my mom, my dad, they never passed those down to me because they were never passed down to them. So I think that helped to shape the way that I think of paranormal today. And I always try to think of logic behind something or an event. Sometimes it's illogical, but I try to rationalize it somehow, right? And not necessarily following scientific methods, but just trying to rationalize what happened, right? So I think that's my perspective on why I do not necessarily believe in those events, because I do think that people do go through what they go through. They experience what they experience. And I'm not going to fault anybody for that. But from my perspective, it is looking at it in a logical explanation way, right? Exactly kind of what the definition was. Cannot be explained by science. Like, I want that explanation, and I want to know that there is a valid reason for something. And my mind doesn't allow it to say, well, it was a paranormal event, right? Or it was a ghost, or it was and insert whatever you want to on that, right? So
that makes sense. But I guess I would say that you would have to see something that you could not explain. Do you think?
I think so, but I also think my mind would try to rationalize it.
Even if you saw that,
even if I saw it, right? Unless it was something like I could never, ever, ever explain, right?
Okay.
It would have to be something that's just out of this world, crazy, and even then I would still my mind would still process it that way and saying, well, no, here is a valid explanation. Here is a explanation that makes sense. And,
So do you think that would scare you? Do you think it would frighten you? Or do you? Because I mean, it's not your typical everyday thing.
Maybe if I couldn't come up with a rational explanation, I think maybe then I would be like, oh man, maybe this is more real than I think. Right? Maybe I need to change my perspective on this and see it as, okay, it is something that I cannot explain, but now I'd just be messed in the head.
Well, you know, in my thoughts,
Yeah.
and I want to share my perspective.
Yeah.
But before we go there, I wanted to say that with Halloween coming up, everybody, you know, they want to put on all their costumes and everything like that. The kids are all excited about that. I remember as a kid being excited about Halloween, not necessarily thinking about the ghosts, but trick or treating, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But from my perspective, I've seen some things that I cannot rightfully explain,
Okay.
and I still today I remember them as much as and as clear as you and I sitting here today.
Okay. Tell me.
You know, for example, I mean, my brother and I years ago when we were kids, uh, we were playing around in this abandoned school,
Okay.
and it was in this small town, and we was with a friend of ours, and we had managed to get past the boarded up part of it, and so it was daylight because we wouldn't go there at night, and so in this, the three of us, you know, they were in Boy Scout, and I was just kind of like the young one, you know, with them, and we managed to get past, and we got upstairs. And the three of us are upstairs, and we're just kind of looking around, seeing what's in there. And there was this old picture that was on the wall of it looked like it was dated back to the early 1900s at that time. And it was still there, and it was of this lady.
Yeah.
And we were standing there, and we were kind of thinking, I wonder who was she? You know, you're just kind of looking at this and thinking, there's this big picture. And then, right then, the picture on the wall started moving. And all three of us,
like the picture
started moving.
The image in the picture.
No, the picture started moving on the wall. We stood there with our eyes probably as big, and we took off running. We couldn't get out of the building fast enough. Of course. Now, I still remember that, but I can't definitively say that. You know, how did I see that? And they saw the same thing.
Yeah.
We questioned each other.
Did you really?
When we got out of the building safely, we were trying to get out. We almost killed ourselves trying to get out of the building. Now, so that was just one occurrence. I mean, over the course of time, I've seen things that I still cannot explain, and still that sort of falls into the paranormal state of being. The picture looked like it was coming out the wall towards us, and we ran and got out of it. So, with that being said, I've always been sort of standing there saying there are things that I've heard, things that I've seen that I don't have an explanation for. I don't know if any of you out there that may be watching our podcast, if you have any perspective or any experience in that, we would love to hear from you in regards to that. So,
so what did you take away from the experiences that you had and the activities or the paranormal events that you heard? What did you take away from?
Say that there are things that I don't have an explanation for, but I'd see and know that they happen.
Okay. But does that mean that there's ghosts? Or,
I'll tell you that I've seen, again, things that fall in that category.
Okay.
And I literally had to wipe my eyes clearly to see that. Now, I always ask the question, why is it that it seems ghosts appear in the dark or at night? Or why not in the day? Why not in lighted areas?
Right.
And the perspective that I take on that is that maybe because it's an energy, maybe it's unsettled energy. Maybe it comes in a form that we see that we sort of question it as being mist or whitish or whatever, because it has no form and it has no definition for
spirit or
in that regard. And the spirit should not necessarily be meaning any harm, but it shows up because maybe it's trying to get some attention. What I mean, what do you think about that?
Yeah. You turn on the light and it goes away, right? I mean, convenient.
Part of it.
Yeah, part of it, but then energy's coming out.
Exactly. That's
right?
my point is
Yeah.
that
So
you turn on the light, and then because maybe the electromagnetic field interrupted. I mean, could that possibly be? What do you guys think about that out there?
and again, I think too, from my perspective, there's like when I grew up, Ghostbusters.
Yes.
I mean, it's still big now, but Ghostbusters when I was a kid, it blew up, right? And you'd have the ghosts get trapped and phased or whatever. They use the ghost capturing machines, and you could shoot them with them. Yeah, I was like, yeah, that's totally it. There's ghosts everywhere. I've seen a Ghostbuster machine to shoot them with, but no. So it's like I don't want to say desensitized me from that, but it showed me right that just the way that it was presented to children in that respect was that it's a movie. It's not real. It's a movie, right? And I personally have never had any experience again with that piece. I think the closest thing that I would have had, like, and again, it's my brain, trying to think this through so I had a friend who passed away almost 10 years ago now. Okay, in February it'll be 10 years. And the day he passed, I went to go visit him in the hospital. We knew that what was going to happen, and we knew that day might be his last day, right? So I was there. I was there at 5:00. Held his hand, said my goodbyes. Got a call and text from the family later that afternoon. He's not home. I just remember this because on my way driving home, I was on the 91 freeway, driving in my Hyundai Sonata or something like that. Right? Windows down, letting the air in. It was a nice summer. It was a cool day right in February. Listening to the radio, and then I was thinking, was that we were trying to 3:00, and I came to where it was a complete stop on the freeway. So it was a complete stop. I was like, I was just thinking, man, he's gone, and I wish I could do he was in that place, right? And windows down, sunroof open, and I don't know what they're called. Those little floating orbs, that you see. That you're supposed that you catch one. It's good luck, right? So that one, it flew into my car. Right? It sat right on my dashboard for about like minutes. So I was in. It's crazy. I was thinking, oh man, okay. I was telling my friend, is that you? Are you there? Or, is that you just telling me you're good? And then right when I started pick up traffic, it's gonna go, and it lifted itself up perfectly, floated through the sun perfectly, right? And there was a breeze coming through, and I was like, "There's no way," because a breeze would have taken it over my side of the window, but it went and floated up perfectly through the sun.
So what do you think?
I said, "Oh man, I don't know." I said, "Well, rationalizing in my head, right? I want that to be that, right? I want that to be him saying goodbye and I'm good, right? That's what I want. I can't explain it, but that's what I want.
You experienced it.
I experienced it, but that's again. Does it sway me one way or the other? I don't think it does. That's what I want, and I think that's a story that I'll remember for the rest of my life. I've never told anybody the story, so nobody knows. Nobody knows.
All my viewers here.
But it's one of those where like I could not explain it because I want it to be that.
That falls in the paranormal.
I mean, I'm not going to say no. Yeah, I'm not going to say no. But it's definitely, again, my mind wanted that. And I think maybe that is what happened.
That goes back to kind of that statement when I said earlier that, maybe that aspect of ghosts, because we always sort of think ghosts are here to scare us and all that.
Yeah.
And the experience that I've had hasn't always been that.
Right.
It frightened us
Right.
because we were not expecting it, because we knew that that individual or whoever that was
Yeah.
no longer existed, but we found them in
Yeah.
this space in this moment.
Right.
So here you experienced this.
Definitely.
Which, okay,
I'm taking that as that's what it was.
I
I
have
am.
to say that what other explanation would we have? Any of you out there might share your perspective on something like that.
Yeah.
Tell us what we'd love
I'm
to hear.
sure people have had some experience where, if someone passed that they were close to or they knew, that they want that, right? Everyone wants the closure if you didn't get that closure while that person was alive. So I think, again, my head rationalizing it says that's what I wanted. That's maybe what I got.
Well, you wanted
and I'll
to
take
know
it.
he was
Yeah. And I'll take it. And that's it. And I don't need to,
go into the
go into,
scientific zone and try to figure out what.
sometimes you don't, and that's fine. Uh, that doesn't mean that, when I hear about other people talking about their experiences and what they've gone through, that I don't believe. It's just it's harder for me, right? But it's definitely something that I could see happening, right?
Well, there was a poll that was taken back in 2021. It was 1,000 Americans,
Okay.
and they were adults. They were asked, how many of them believed in ghosts.
Okay.
And about 40, I think it said something like 48% had said that they believed in ghosts.
Yeah.
And out of that, it was like 20% said that they had had paranormal experience. And so, yeah. So when you think about that, it said the summation of that, of those folks, you're talking about roughly 50 million, approximately 50 million Americans seeing or having a paranormal experience.
Yeah.
That's a lot of people to say that this doesn't exist. I would say that because the scientific, and I tried to wrap my mind around what you were saying, science is typically factual information. And because ghosts have no really physical relevance in our space and time, I would have to say that it would take sort of that experience for whoever experiencing that to sort of make a conclusion, their self conclusion. I say, from my perspective, that I've seen things that cause me to realize that there are things that I cannot explain that I experience.
Okay.
And in that, I leave it open sort of to say that it very well could be that. There are things that we cannot explain. I would love to know if any of you have had that, or could send us an email. Let us know what your experience has been, if you've had one, or what you believe in, your perspective on that.
Yeah. I think that would be interesting to hear other people's, because like I said, I think a lot of people might have gone through, right? If you're saying 40% or whatever it is, that means a lot of people have gone through at least something like that, right?
Well, think about it. Let's break it down for a second. Think about us in the universe. Think about this planet.
Yeah.
Okay. And we look out there, and at night we see gazillion stars.
Yep.
Okay. But we're the only ones that exist in this whole universe.
Yeah.
Is that real?
That's not plausible.
And so if you look at that and you say that, and we don't have any physical evidence otherwise, that there very well be paranormal existence of people that have moved on, that are still here.
Oh yeah. Look, I'm not saying it can't happen or people aren't experiencing what they're experiencing. It's just scientifically hard to wrap. Logically, right? That's just what I'm trying to get at. It's tough.
Well, I'm going to hit you with the Stanley Hotel.
Okay. Here we go. Okay.
The Stanley Hotel now. I probably don't know if you guys know about that. But it was The Shining was sort of replicated on that aspect. And the Stanley Hotel was one that is supposedly haunted by all of the sort of activity that had went on in the past. I take it was a violent activity that sort of, and all these people. So, and that if you've not seen The Shining, it's kind of one of those really kind of scary, mind twisting movies that they still say that that hotel is haunted in Colorado.
Right.
Another one was the Watley House down in San Diego.
Okay.
And that was another place where people experienced paranormal activity. No one wanted to stay over to they experience these things. You probably, I don't know if you heard of Lizzie Borden.
No.
That
Sounds
was
familiar.
yeah, they did years ago a movie on her. She asked her whole family and the whole thing, and they said the house is still existing in Fall Rivers, Massachusetts. Now there are a lot of places back
They
east
need to tear it down.
that
That place.
exactly.
Tear it down.
Maybe she won't let them.
Oh, maybe. Gotcha. Okay.
So now you asked me earlier too a question on the difference between paranormal
Yeah.
and superstition.
Superstition. Yes, that's it.
Are they related?
Yeah. Are they? So are they related?
Well, that's what I was wondering. I thought, okay, in that context, I think they are.
Yeah.
But I think it comes down. I think the relationship is belief.
100%.
You know, and I say that in belief because when you start to believe that, then you believe in ghosts, paranormal activity.
So is superstition like a gateway drug to paranormal?
Well, I think it sort of lends itself into that category.
Okay.
But that's my perspective on it because here's why. If you believe in that superstition, meaning Friday the 13th is a unlucky day for most people, I won't stay on. In fact, they do not create 13th floors in buildings because of that superstition.
Do they still do that today?
Well, I don't think. Can you find the 13th floor someplace?
I don't know.
That'd be interesting to know. That'd be interesting to know whether or not that is
older
still.
buildings I get. Yeah. No 13th floor. I heard some like airlines don't have a 13th row, right? Like that. It's because of the number 13. Yeah.
And see, I always take on it, John, was always the Friday the 13th was my good luck day.
Yeah. Oh, that's your good luck day.
And so now is that super? I just made that up.
No, you just made.
But the whole thing, is that it worked.
Okay.
So here's another question for all of you out there, as well as you, John. Do we manifest these things in our mind? Do we want to see them to the point that they become the manifestation of what we see?
Yeah, we do.
You think we do?
Oh yeah, I think so. I think there's
portion of what
exactly. Remember what I said on my stories? I wanted that to be that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
So even if it wasn't that, it was going to be that.
Maybe we manifest ghosts, and maybe they really exist.
Perhaps.
Love to hear your thoughts on that out there.
Love it.
Okay.
So back to superstitions, right? What are some like funny ones that you've heard, or like because of course we have all the standard ones. Your knock on wood, right? Like that's our everyone's got that one. Right. Everything every day. I hear it every day. That one. Right. Knock on wood.
Well, the cat crawled, the black cat.
The black cat.
Not just any cat.
Yeah.
Black cat. And it's all black, not with white paws.
What if you can't see the paws are white underneath? Well,
you probably thought that the cat, but it wasn't bad luck for you. Like maybe if it was all black and it crossed in front of you, maybe it was bad luck. I know they always say that.
Yeah.
That was one.
Yeah.
That I kind of laughed at in a sense. Breaking a mirror.
Breaking a mirror always, yeah.
And
bad luck thing.
7 years. I'd never know why it had to be 7.
Seven's a bad luck number too. Yeah, 7 and 13.
It's kind of funny because I always thought 7 was really good.
Maybe
on a slot machine is special.
Oh well, 7 is a good one. Yeah, but maybe I'm thinking wrong. But I thought 7 and 13 were bad luck numbers for some reason.
Think about the 7, but I knew 13 was considered. And I switched it around to be a good luck number.
You
always seem to
manifest it. You don't manifest
it. And it manifests good things on my
Okay.
I've always So
manifesting good.
So that comes to the superstition.
That's the
part of it. So do we make those up? What are superstitious beliefs from around the world? I mean, do you know of any that we saw?
Again, I've heard 7 and 13. I didn't grow up with a lot of superstitions. Again, I think I said that my parents weren't very superstitious. That wasn't what they were raised with as well. But there's a few like in the Asian culture, like chopsticks, right? If you're eating like noodles or anything that you're eating, you can't stand them up and leave them like that. You're supposed to lay them down. Yeah, I don't remember if it signifies death. I don't know. someone's going to correct me on this, but signifies something bad. You leave them standing up, you always got to lay them down. So you can either lay them down on your where you're eating out of, or you can put them down on the side. But that was, again, we didn't have many superstitions, and I wasn't raised on that either. So it's just the classic American, knock on wood, salt over the shoulder, the window glass breaking, mirrors breaking, stuff like that. But
I know there's some things too, like the white owl. See this white owl, or you see something to do with an owl that screech owl, something like that. I don't know. Maybe some of you out there may know something about that. I remember hearing something about that. If you heard that owl, it was something that was it was sort of something like that. And it may not be you; it could be someone that you know or thereabouts. But again, that's another superstition.
And, you talk about superstitions all across the world, right? Like, my family, again, doesn't have many, but I know my wife's family has a ton. So when, we had our son, our oldest, I think hers was the evil eye, was her biggest one, right? So she put the rosary and a Bible underneath his mattress, to make sure that evil eye was like warded off and nothing bad could happen to him. I think she said the Bibles are still there, and the rosaries are still there. But it just makes you think of, like, around the world, there's so many superstitions, and then there are similar superstitions around as well
to what we have here, right?
to what we have here.
Well, I know we're going to have people running around here that are spooking out and doing all the trick or treating and all that stuff. So we're still going to have this unanswered question on paranormal events, but our perspective is, as you heard it from him, he has to have definite evidence.
And even when I see it, still try to make sure and rationalize in my head.
That's him.
It's really about belief.
Well, it comes down to superstition as well.
Yeah.
And we'd love to hear from you guys out there as to what your thoughts and your perspective is on that.
That's right.
Sarah.
Do we have one more thing to talk about, though?
We are going to talk about the kindness.
Kindness.
What do you think?
I think we should.
Okay, let's do it.
I don't know if I have an example of kindness to share with everyone today, but I think
something you did.
Maybe, exactly. Maybe something that we did that's kind. I think the small gestures, though,
absolutely,
are really good.
Just anything kind that you could do for humanity.
Courtesy, kind.
Yes. Simple things. In front of me. I mean,
exactly. I held the door open for people when I was walking into the gym today.
People don't do that very much anymore.
Not anymore.
The kids are starting to pick that up.
The kids
There's a place that you can find a lot of that where the kids are inspiring us on kindness. Kindness 101.
That's right.
And so we'd like to talk about those episodes coming up. Some of the podcasts that we're going to be saying, we're going to always sort of highlight something kind. We'd love to hear what you guys are doing. There's something it doesn't have to be big.
Small gestures are good. Yeah, absolutely. They're big,
And we'll talk about why we feel that is most important now more than ever.
Yeah.
As we go in each podcast, and we'd love to have you chime in and share with us something that you did that was kind.
Yep.
In your day.
So be kind, everyone. That's all we're asking.
Thank you.
All right.
We'll see you next time.
See you next time. Bye.